You know, it's funny. Most of us just casually fire off emails every single day, kind of treating the whole thing like a massive digital free-for-all. Well, today we're going to absolutely shatter that illusion. Welcome to this explainer. We're tossing out that casual mindset right now and treating email exactly as it is, a highly regulated, incredibly complex ecosystem. You can basically think of this as your personal survival guide for operating safely in a digital airspace that is literally packed with unseen rules, strict laws, and hidden threats. All right, let's dive right in.
To really survive and thrive out there, you've got to start framing yourself as a digital pilot. I mean, you wouldn't just jump into the cockpit of a 747 without understanding the dashboard, right? Same exact logic applies here. Consider this your system-level blueprint to safely operate, secure, and navigate modern digital communication. To do that, we really need to understand the constraints, the mechanics, and of course, the defenses.
So, here is our flight path for today. We'll hit the ecosystem, navigate global laws, master the interface, go over netiquette, tackle digital threats, and finally, run through a pre-flight checklist.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the digital communication ecosystem.
When you really break down the vast world of email, it actually rests entirely on 4 manageable, foundational pillars. First up, we've got the environment, which represents the external laws governing our messages. Second is the interface, that's your system mechanics and routing operations. Third is the interaction, which covers the human element and online courtesy. And finally, the shield, which is our defense against attacks and risks. Master these 4, and you're golden.
Moving right along to Section 2, navigating global email laws.
Now, you might not realize this, but our digital airspace is heavily monitored. A lot of countries have enacted some very specific laws to protect people from email misuse, and as senders, we absolutely have to comply. First off, you gotta ensure your subject lines are honest, strictly no false or misleading headers allowed. If you're representing an organization, identification isn't just a polite suggestion, it's a mandate. You must include a valid postal address. You also need explicit opt-in permissions before messaging anyone, along with a super clear way for them to opt out. And for companies, making your privacy policies crystal clear to all subscribers is a strict legal must.
Because of all this, it's absolutely crucial to understand the practices that are strictly forbidden, like harvesting. So what is harvesting? It's basically capturing lists of email addresses without permission. Grabbing emails you find scraped across the web might seem like a clever growth hack at first, but in reality, it directly violates those opt-in laws we just talked about, and it can literally get your entire domain globally blacklisted. No way you want to deal with that.
Okay, with our legal environment mapped out, let's head to Section 3, mastering the email interface. Think about that new message window you interact with every single day. Those aren't just empty text boxes, they're your mechanical controls. For instance, notice how you can use email groups, which is just a single name representing multiple addresses, to easily invite a whole team. Look at the subject line. Remember our previous legal check? Keep it honest. And down at the bottom, when you hit forward or attach a file, you've got to be extremely cautious about your payload limits, especially when it comes to forwarding confidential or copyrighted material without explicit permission.
To make these mechanics perfectly clear, let's break down how we route our information. CC simply sends a copy to interested parties, but keep in mind, everyone can see everyone else. BCC, on the other hand, sends a copy invisibly, offering much-needed privacy for large groups. Forwarding passes a message to a totally new person, but again, use caution regarding spam and copyright. And email groups streamline your team communications into one easy click.
Actually, let's look a bit closer at the 2 most commonly confused mechanics, CC versus BCC. The difference between a carbon copy and a blind carbon copy entirely boils down to 2 things, recipient visibility and privacy.
It's all about visibility. CC operates transparently. Everyone on the thread can see exactly who got the message. But BCC, it operates in stealth mode. The recipient's address remains entirely invisible to everyone else. If you're emailing a massive group of customers or a large internal team, using BCC is absolutely crucial for protecting user privacy.
Beyond just routing addresses, your interface also handles files, or what we call digital payloads. Now, emails are simply not designed for massive files. The safest route is to compress your files into .zip formats, or better yet, host the file externally and just send a web link. And pay close attention to the quarantine zone. You must fiercely avoid executable files. I'm talking about those .ex or .bat files. Opening them is literally like willingly letting a virus take over your entire dashboard. Just don't touch them.
All right, moving on to our third pillar in Section 4,
The rules of netiquette. Here's the thing about email. Because we lack facial expressions and tone of voice, humor is incredibly easy to misunderstand. That's exactly why maintaining a strict communication filter is vital. You have to keep out profane, inflammatory, or illegal material that could completely tank your professional reputation in an instant.
Which brings us to a golden rule we have all likely suffered through at some point: never use all caps. Seriously, in the digital world, it's universally interpreted as aggressive screaming. It just makes people defensive, so definitely avoid it.
All of these concepts build into the 10 rules of netiquette. Let's do a rapid-fire courtesy check. No abuse, no spamming, and whatever you do, don't waffle. Be succinct. Remember that everything online is effectively public, so proofread your work, protect people's privacy, and cite your sources. And finally, give people a little grace for their errors, and please, limit the emoticons just a bit.
Now brace for impact as we jump into Section 5, Defending Against Digital Threats.
The email ecosystem is populated with very real security threats, and they're primarily split into two vectors. First, we have passive attacks. This is essentially data interception, where your material is secretly released to others without your consent. Your system keeps functioning normally, but your privacy completely breached. Then we have active attacks, and these are much more destructive. This is data manipulation, where messages are actively modified by a third party, or your system is intentionally clogged by thousands of malicious emails.
And speaking of clogging your system, spam. Spam isn't just some minor annoyance cluttering up your morning routine. It is a massive systemic drain. It hogs valuable internet bandwidth, which physically slows down network speeds. It forces users to waste time manually parsing and deleting messages. And most dangerously, it carries severe security risks, ranging from embedded viruses to highly sophisticated phishing scams, engineered specifically to steal your personal information.
So, to survive these threats, you have to build a strong shield to fortify your account defenses. It starts with cryptographic strength. Instead of using your pet's name or your birthday, use a complex, unpronounceable string of random letters, numbers, and symbols. Then, practice key rotation by changing those passwords frequently. You should also actively train automated spam filters to route suspicious emails right to the junk folder. And always run active, updated antivirus software to intercept threats before they ever reach your inbox.
Well, we made it to Section 6, the pre-flight checklist. We've mapped the ecosystem, the laws, the interface, the etiquette, and the threats. Time for your final tactical briefing.
Here is the concrete 4-step pre-flight procedure every digital pilot needs to execute before hitting send. Step 1, environment. Is your subject line honest? Step 2, interface. Are large groups properly hidden in BCC? Step 3, interaction. Is your tone polite and spell checked? And step 4, shield. Is your antivirus actively running? At the end of the day, communication in this digital ecosystem requires total awareness at every single level. The real-world weight of sending an email is massive, legally, socially, and securely. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Before your very next message takes off, will it pass the pre-flight check? Thanks for exploring the email blueprint with us in this explainer today. Keep those shields up and fly safe out there in the digital airspace.